Moloch or Molech was an ancient god that was worshipped by sacrificing children. So, how did such a vile symbol become enshrined with celebrity and the secret societies of the world's elite? Human sacrifice to appease gods has been a tragic constant throughout early human history. When things turned bad, such as during plagues, disease and poor harvests, humans believed that gods were angry. To regain favour with the gods, human sacrifices were served up for the greater good. Often, the purest humans were seen as the best sacrifices, such as the Akla of the Inca Empire. The most perfect of these girls were sacrificed to the gods at around the age of 10. Moloch and the followers of Moloch also chose the most pure sacrifices, children. Moloch was a god of the Caananites, a religion spawned from ancient Semitic faiths. The Caananites lived in modern-day Lebanon, Syria and Israel between 1550 BC and 300 BC. The cult of Moloch was practised from as early as the Bronze Age, as described by All That Is Interesting. It is said that children would be placed in the stomach section of a large statue. The statue would be bronze, with the body of a man and the head of a bull. As the child was trapped inside the stomach, the statue would be on fire, burning alive the victim. The practice was described by French Rabbi Shlomo Yitzchaki, otherwise known as Rashi. He said, "Topeth is Moloch, which was made of brass, and they heated him from his lowest parts, and his hands being stretched out and made hot, they put the child between his hands, and it was burnt. When it vehemently cried out, but the priests beat a drum, that the father might not hear the voice of his son, and his heart might not be moved." A reference to Moloch happens 8 times in the Hebrew Bible. For example, in Leviticus 18:21 it states, "And thou shalt not give any of thy seed to set them apart to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord." Israelites were further warned against practicing Moloch in Leviticus, the punishment being death by stoning. As the passage goes, "Thou shalt say to the children of Israel, whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn in Israel, that giveth of his seed unto Molech, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. I also will set my face against that man, and will cut him off from among his people, because he hath given his seed unto Molech, to defile my sanctuary, and to profane my holy name. And if the people of the land do at all hide their eyes from that man, when he giveth of his seed unto Molech, and put him not to death, then I will set my face against that man, and against his family, and will cut him off, and all that go astray after him, to go astray after Molech from among their people." Moloch was also described by English poet John Milton in Paradise Lost. Moloch was said to be one of the greatest fallen angels and one of the devil's chief warriors. In Paradise Lost, Moloch gives a fictional speech which goes, "First Moloch, horrid king, besmeared with blood of human sacrifice and parents' tears, though for the noise of drums and timbrels loud, their children's cries unheard that passed through fire." Moloch worship also happened in North Africa, where the name Molech was changed to Kronos. The practice of Kronos made its way to Europe, in particular Carthage. The mythology of Moloch grew from there, as this god was said to be a titan and father of Zeus. Flaubert's Salammbô published a historic novel about Carthage in 1862, describing first the statues of Moloch, where sacrifices would be practised. As it goes, then, further back, higher than the candelabrum and much higher than the altar, rose the Moloch, all of iron and with gaping apertures in his human breast. His outspread wings were stretched upon the wall. His tapering hands reached down to the ground. 3 black stones bordered by yellow circles represented 3 eyeballs on his brow, and his bull's head was raised with a terrible effort in order to bellow. The brazen arms were working more quickly. They paused no longer. Every time that a child was placed in them, the priests of Moloch spread out their hands upon him to burden him with the crimes of the people, vociferating, "They are not men but oxen." And the multitude round about repeated, "Oxen, oxen." The devout exclaimed, "Lord, eat." And the priests of Proserpine, complying through terror with the needs of Carthage, muttered the formula, "Pour out rain, bring forth." The victims, when scarcely at the edge of the opening, disappeared like a drop of water on a red-hot plate, and white smoke rose amid the great scarlet colour. Moloch has also been used as a political allegory in recent years. For example, the father of communism, Karl Marx, referred to money as Moloch, which is seemingly in line with the phrase, "Money is the root of all evil." Moloch has also been used by anti-abortion activists who claim people are sacrificing unborn children so that they can have a better life, much like followers of Moloch. Similarly, people have called easy access to guns in America Moloch, in that children are sacrificed in school shootings so that gun lovers can enjoy guns. This was described in a 2012 article by Gary Wills called Our Moloch. Winston Churchill also wrote in 1948 about how Hitler had created a fictional monster out of the Jewish people to be feared and to fight against. As he wrote in The Gathering Storm about Hitler achieving power in 1933, he had called from the depths of defeat the dark and savage furies latent in the most numerous, most serviceable, ruthless, contradictory and ill-starred race in Europe. He had conjured up the fearful idol of an all-devouring Moloch, of which he was a priest and incarnation. Of course, it was Hitler that was the real Moloch. He sacrificed children in death camps across Europe. Moloch has also been depicted in a number of films, TV series and computer games. For example, Metropolis, Stargate SG-1, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Supernatural, Assassin's Creed Bloodlines, Dungeons and Dragons, and The Elder Scrolls. Arguably, the Wicker Man human sacrifice is the closest thing to resemble the human sacrifices of Moloch. However, instead of a giant wicker man, it would be a giant iron bull that could be reused. However, what is even more disturbing is the possibility that the world's elites still practice the worship of Moloch today. Up until the year 2000, whispers emerged of an eyes wide shut-like secret society where the world's richest, most powerful elites would meet up and practice strange ceremonies. The society in question an annual meeting was known as Bohemian Grove. It was said that some of the most powerful people would meet in secret and discuss agenda-setting policies. They were said to dress in cloaked uniforms and worship Molech by doing strange rituals in the woods. Of course, much like other seemingly implausible factual events like MK Ultra, people dismissed this as the paranoid ramblings of conspiracy theorists. However, staggeringly, elements of this was proven with video evidence by none other than Alex Jones. As shown in his 2000 documentary Dark Secrets in Bohemian Grove, a young Alex Jones snuck into Bohemian Grove and filmed a very disturbing ceremony. Jones claimed that the global elites are obsessed with occult practices, and the footage he captured strengthens this claim. Now remember, the people that go to Bohemian Grove are the elite of the elite, world-leading bankers, businessmen and politicians, people that set the current state of the world. Members have included the likes of George Bush and George Bush Sr., Herbert Hoover, Henry Kissinger, Bill Clinton, Henry S. Morgan, Richard Nixon, Walter Cronkite, Charles M. Schwab, Alan Greenspan, David Rockefeller and Mark Twain. Some could say that such influential people meeting in private could be defined as the modern Illuminati or the New World Order. The Manhattan Project, which led to the development of nuclear weapons, was planned and ran from Bohemian Grove. In more recent times, the secret Bilderberg Group or the not-so-secret World Economic Forum could be described as the current face of the New World Order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I listened to my colleague's speech. I had a constituent that wanted me to ask a question about outside interference to our democracy. Klaus Schwab is the head of the World Economic Forum, and he bragged how his subversive WEF, World Economic Forum, has, quoted, infiltrated governments around the world. He said that his organization had penetrated more than half of Canada's cabinet. And I was wondering, in the interest of transparency, could the member please name which cabinet ministers are on board with the WEF's agenda? My concern is the deputy.
Order. I know that the member was in a really good question there, but the audio is really bad and the video is really bad as well. And I apologize. I don't know if the member. Okay.
Yes. Actually, this notion to integrate young leaders is part of the World Economic Forum since many years. And I have to say, when I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. But what we are very proud of now is the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, President of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are actually young global leaders of the world.
Mere presence in Davos at the forum signals their empathy and sensitivity. Not to me, it bloody well doesn't. Makes me think there is a global conspiracy. People that are banned from the internet now for saying stuff like, oh, there's this group of people, they're meeting up, they've got the same financial interests, they're looking to put pressure on governments to implement a set of policies that will lead to centralised power that facilitates an ongoing march towards dystopia. Makes me think, oh no, that's definitely happening. Because who are the folks showing up at this stuff, and what are they saying? Like, if you get big tech, big pharma, government all in one place, and then you look out your window or sort of watch the news, if it's not too propagandized, you start thinking, wait a minute, these people are in cahoots, I tell you.
Alex Jones snuck into the Bohemian Grove, which has existed since at least 1873, fitted with secret cameras to infiltrate and investigate the strange rumours about the place. The club itself is hidden by large, dense redwood trees and is surrounded by security, police, security cameras and the Secret Service. Initially, the club looks like an ordinary American summer camp with log cabins and benches to sit and eat. However, occult symbolism was widespread throughout, including numerous depictions of owls and skulls. During the day, he also captured a giant shrine of a stone-carved owl atop a set of stone steps with a stone altar at the bottom. The owl is said to be the modern representation of Moloch, formerly a bull or a minotaur. This owl symbol, along with the all-seeing eye of the Illuminati, is also hidden on the $1 bill. Perhaps this is a reference to money being Moloch, or the root of all evil. Furthermore, references to owls, occultism and Satanism is widespread amongst celebrities. Now, whether they are self-aware of this and use it to drum up mystique and controversy to promote themselves, or whether they are part of the club remains to be seen. The symbol of Bohemian Grove itself is an owl with the motto, "Weaving spiders come not here," which must have been terrifying to see as an undercover reporter. At night, Alex Jones managed to capture a Bohemian Grove ceremony called the Cremation of Care. First, the members would all feast and drink in celebration before a mock human sacrifice would be witnessed. This would take place at the site of that 45-foot stone owl as drunken elites watched on from the tree line. A show would take place in which robed figures carried a bound body towards the shrine. A voice rang out with the opening line, "The owl is in his leafy temple, let all within the grove be reverent before him." Cloaked figures holding fire torches marched towards and lined up beside the owl as a head preacher continued to talk. A bound woman would then be brought across the river in front of the statue on a boat. The boatman himself would have his face painted to look like a skull. Then the woman was ritualistically cremated alive in front of a cheering crowd as screams of pain can be heard.
O great owl of Bohemia, we thank thee for thy adjuration. Begone, dull care! Fire shall have its will of thee! Begone, dull care! And all the winds make merry with thy dust! Hail, fellowship's eternal flame! Once again, midsummer sets us free!
Accounts, it appears that this was an actor and the sacrifice was not real. Interestingly enough, the word bonfire is said to have came from the Old English phrase "bone fire", in which pagan and druids would burn human bodies in a fire pit and collect their ashes for future rituals. Jones showed a flyer for the Cremation of Care ceremony given to guests with a small demon depicted sweeping up the cremated ash from the fire.
So shall we burn thee once again this night, and in the flames that eat thine effigy, Ye shall read the sign. This sucker sets us free. He shall burn me once again. Not with me, play.
Shortly after Alex Jones broke the story, George Bush Jr. admitted to the existence of Bohemian Grove for the first time. What is perhaps even more bizarre and strange was the reactions of Bohemian Grove members when confronted by Alex Jones and other reporters. They seemed furious with him for talking about it and even petrified to speak on it.
Many years ago where you had a comment about the organization, and then now it's been in the Wall Street Journal, it's been in a lot of different newspapers, and that's the Bohemian Grove. And back in, what was it, 1996, when you joined as a Clinton advisor, the Republicans were criticizing you. Oh, what about Bohemian Grove? And then you countered them by saying, hey, I don't run around in the woods naked. What did that mean? Here is the before mentioned Washington Times article where he said, I didn't run around naked like they do.
I don't know what quote you're referring to. I'm not aware of any quote like that. Listen, I am a happy member of the Bohemian Grove. I like the folks who come there, and it's really inappropriate for me to talk about the group beyond that. Thank you.
Have you been there for the ceremony with the cremation of care?
Frankly, I don't think that's something I need to talk to you about.
Really?
That's right.
I'm Alex Jones, and I snuck in there in 2000. I'm the guy that blew it wide open and got the video. It's been on national TV.
Well, I disrespect you for that.
You do?
I do.
But it's a lot of big public officials going in there.
You took,
don't we deserve to know?
I don't know anything about you, and I don't know anything about your film. But if you go in there with an understanding, you violated that understanding by releasing that film, and I don't respect you for that.
Really?
I'm sorry. You took an understanding when you went in there that you would not do that film. And did you have an understanding when you went in there?
No.
Did you crash it?
Yes.
Yeah, and it has no trespassing signs there too, doesn't it?
No, they put them up after.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just walked in.
I'm sorry, sir. I've been there before. I know what the circumstances are, and I'm sorry you violated the understandings. That was not a gentlemanly thing to do.
But what about the ritual? Is the ritual genuinely?
Sir, everything. I don't owe you this comment.
I know. I appreciate
This is what's called ambush journalism, and I disrespect you for that as well. So thank you and goodbye.
Been in the ritual?
It's none of your damn business.
Oh.
That's right. Listen. You go around and make understandings with people and violate them. You ambush people on the streets, and that's inappropriate form of journalism. If you wish to practice that, that's fine, but don't ask others to respect you for it. If you want to, you can do. You're a free American, like anything you want. If you want to be uncivil and rude and ungentlemanly, that's up to you. But don't expect the rest of us to say, "Oh well, you're
there, Mr. Gergen."
I'm sorry, nobody sets policy in there. We try to be gentlemen, and obviously, you don't belong there.
Weaving spiders come out here.
And Mr. Greenspan, just really quick, how do you think being a part of the Bohemian Grove and Bilderberg Group has affected you being chairman of the Fed?
Bohemian Grove? I was never a member of the Bohemian Grove.
It says you attended, but the Bilderberg Group?
He's not doing press.
Are you sure, sir? It's reported.
I've been to their meetings.
You don't need it.
Been to their meetings?
I've been to a meeting.
Take a look at these top secret meetings.
It is worth noting as well that some of the most powerful politicians in the world are enshrined in secret societies from an early age. For example, David Cameron and Boris Johnson were both part of the Bullingdon Club at the exact same time. Also, people such as George W. Bush and John Kerry were part of the Skull and Bones occultist secret society. Some people believe that the world's elite still practice the worship of Moloch and other satanic or occultist practices. For example, clues can be found on Epstein Island, and we all know what happened there with the world's elites and children, despite the FBI not releasing the client list. Epstein had a golden roofed temple on the island with golden statues of owls surrounding it. A woodland creature on an exotic beach does not seem to be a fitting decoration. Moreover, this is where many victims have stated they were taken to by Epstein and other clients before they did what they did. John Podesta, who was Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, was also thrown into suspicion after his emails were leaked, as were other Democrat associates. Seemingly, people believed that some of the strange language used in certain emails was part of a secret language used by a certain types of people who like children. These code words are indeed listed by the FBI. For example, hot dog meaning boy, pizza meaning girl, cheese meaning little girl, pasta meaning little boy, ice cream meaning male prostitute, map meaning semen, sauce meaning orgy, and cheese pizza being code for CP meaning you know what. One particularly strange email from Fred Button, who worked for intelligence agency Stratfor, who oversaw elements of security for Obama, read, "I think Obama spent about $65,000 of the taxpayers' money flying in pizza/dogs from Chicago for a private party at the White House not long ago." This certainly was a large amount of money to spend on hot dogs. Another leaked email sent to employees within the private intelligence firm said, headcount, "Who all is in the Austin office today who is going to want pizza? We only have one slice and we need to know how thinly to slice it." Simply send a single response, filled, colour-coded, double-sided and appropriately labelled, signed in triplicate and set on fire. Now how could one slice of pizza possibly be used for more than one person, and what is with all the colour code chat? Another bizarre email from within the company sent by Kyle Rhodes read, "Find a school and see the children leave at the end of the day. You want the schools where there is pushing and shoving and where older brothers come to walk their sisters home. You are now where you should be. Look at their shoes, look at their cute little skirts. Invite them into your taxi and give them a ride home. Then go back to their house every day to watch them. Yes, watch their geopolitical little bodies." Excellent. Certainly, this is a very dark and strange thing to say in an email, but it seems like it may have been part of some kind of twisted joke. Without proper context, it is hard to know. An email to John Podesta also seemed to contain code words. The realtor found a handkerchief. I think it has a map that seems pizza related. Is it yours? They can send it if you want. I know you're busy, so feel free not to respond if it's not yours or you don't want it. Another email to Podesta read, the next 3 months are going to be rougher internally than in Beijing. Between 7th and 1600, no fun. Hope you're doing okay. I'm dreaming about your hot dog stand in Hawaii. An email, this time sent by John Podesta, read, I think you should give notice when changing strategies which have been long in place. I immediately realised something was different by the shape of the box, and I contemplated who would be sending me something in a square shaped box. Lo and behold, instead of pasta and wonderful sauces, it was a lovely, tempting assortment of cheeses. Yummy. I am awaiting the return of my children and grandchildren from their holiday travels so that we can demolish them. Strangely, an email sent directly to Hillary Clinton from Cheryl Mills directly references Moloch. With fingers crossed, the old rabbit's foot out of the box in the attic, I will be sacrificing a chicken in the backyard to Moloch. Numerous references to pizza parties, cheese pizza, ice cream and pasta were referenced by emails. Of course, speculation can be made about the contents of the emails, but without solid proof, only speculation is possible. Also, with thousands of emails being released, it is likely that confirmation bias came into play, with people looking for these words with excessive scrutiny. Perhaps connections were made without any basis. However, this is where artistic expression comes into play. Certain artistic elements have not helped the scrutiny of Podesta or Clinton. John and his brother Tony have an extremely dark art collection that depict children. Children seemingly going through horrific experiences. Many art pieces have them bound up or half stripped. Now, there is nothing wrong with having a taste for dark art. Some of the greatest artworks have dark themes, such as works from Francisco Goya. However, some of the artwork in the Podesta collection is borderline illegal because of their depictions of children in exploitative scenarios. I am not sure I am even able to share some of them here. The two brothers also owned a pizza store which featured some of the artwork. This is also where artist Marina Abramovich also comes into play. She is friends with the Podestas and Hillary Clinton, not to mention beloved by some of the most influential celebrities in the world. She makes a lot of dark, occultist art and much of her work is performative. She also sometimes utilises children in her art. Also, some sources have alleged that she has used the services of photographers that have known crimes against children, such as David Hamilton. Before his death in 2019, he had several sexual assault allegations made against him on underage girls. Also, as his photography work includes nude underage girls, there is somewhat of a grey area when it comes to legality. For example, it is allowed to be legally sold in bookstores. However, having it in your possession can be illegal. Such was the case in 2005 when a man was charged with having indecent images, including photos from Hamilton. In 2010, another man in the UK was charged for having some of Hamilton's work in his possession, but it was overturned the following year as it was legally sold in a bookshop. However, I will put an asterisk on the connection between Abramovich and Hamilton, as I could not find concrete sources to confirm this. So, this can only be alleged. She is also extremely close to the Rothschild family, so you can make of that what you will. What is clear is that she does perform satanic occultist performance art routines and exhibitions with heavy emphasis on blood, death and gore, and the richest, most powerful people in the world support her. On another, separate note, she also lent her voice to the abortion debate. She claimed that she had 3 abortions because having children would ruin her art career. So, that in itself, if you believe the words of abortion activists, is a metaphorical Moloch in itself, sacrificing children to benefit her career. However, that debate is a whole separate issue. Lastly, many people feel that the opening ceremony for the 2012 London Olympics had references symbolic to Moloch. Images of sick children in hospital beds with demonic cloaked figures hovering above and chasing children was especially distasteful in light of the Jimmy Savile revelations, as was the inclusion of the child snatcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Around the same time, it came out that Jimmy Savile had used his connections to access at least 14 hospitals in the UK that housed sick children. This sick predator, who also had connections to some of the most powerful people in the British establishment, including the royal family, used his hospital access to abuse children. This section of the opening ceremony was to combine and celebrate the NHS and the UK's contribution to literature, most notably Harry Potter. However, the underlying themes are down to interpretation. This is also the case of the continuation of Moloch and child sacrifice. Certainly, there is suspicious activity amongst elites when it comes to children, but is this elite deviance or a ritualistic form of worship? As of yet, nothing is concrete and everything is just speculation.